play quarterback, and what's your relationship with him, and have y'all had any kind of discussion?
I haven't had too much contact with him. I'm going to stick around, probably watch a little bit of practice today. Last time I was here, maybe a month or so ago, maybe two, I was walking around and peeked into the QB room, and one of the coaches was in there. Asked him to pull up a little tape on him and watch him throw it around. He looked like he had a bunch of talent. That's what everybody says. Obviously, was a very highly recruited kid. But it's a lot of fun, I guess. I know it was for me, coming from a long way away and kind of immersing myself in Georgia and in the culture and all that. I'm sure he's going to have a good time doing it. Look forward to watching him play. Get a chance to do it today, and we'll see. I'm excited.
Man, what do you think about the fact that with him, goes back to a junior year, people have been comparing him to you in a lot of respects? I mean, is that a lot of pressure to put on the young man to have
I don't think so. I wasn't very good, but no, he's a super talented kid. As far as the comparisons go, everybody's their own player. I'm sure he's bigger than I am, probably throw it farther than I can, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just, happy for him to get an opportunity to play here. It's a special place to play. I know he'll have a great time, playing and being a student athlete here like I did. So, I'm just happy for him, happy for the team, happy for, the whole program.
What do you remember about that experience, enrolling early, coming in, competing for the job, and I guess it was kind of three of you guys sharing it to begin with?
Yeah, it wasn't always easy. Had a bunch of ups and downs, especially my freshman year. But it was worth it. For me, I wanted to play early. I didn't want to sit out. Everybody's different. Everybody has different vision of how their college career goes. But for me, I wanted to play as soon as I possibly could, so I came in early. That was difficult, at times, leaving all your buddies back in high school, that kind of thing. And being far away from home. But it was worth it for me. I'm sure it'll be, worth it for him. More and more kids, I feel like, are doing it. I don't follow the college recruiting trail too hot, but I feel like that's a trend that's growing. So it works. Everybody's got their own feeling towards it, but for me it was the right decision, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Matt, what was your welcome to the SEC moment?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Welcome to the SEC. I've taken a lot of hits since then. It's hard to remember. I don't know. Maybe my freshman year, Kentucky, when we lost. I got my helmet ripped off and my face was all bloody, and I was like, well, this is a lot tougher than sometimes you might think it would be. But that was a tough one for me, for sure.
So, catch us up on the logistics a little bit. You seem to spend a lot of time in Atlanta. Do you and your wife live in Atlanta off season?
We do.
And I understand you recently had a church league basketball championship.
That's apparently hot news.
But you're Matt Ryan and his brother on the team. You guys buddies?
Yeah, I met him at the Pro Bowl a couple years ago, and we didn't really know, but we lived right around the corner from each other, and so we just started talking and play golf with him a bunch. He's a good hoop player, so we went out there and won us a little church league championship for second year in a row, which was a lot of fun, and just a fun way to keep active and do something other than going into the gym and lifting weights and running. So,
what church is that?
West Wayuga Baptist, I believe.
There was a lot of, back in the day, 10 years ago, you were quite spotlight and all that when you came in, but now it seems like, we talked about Jacob for 5 minutes, which sort of shows how the spotlight can grow even in the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
What have you noticed? You said you don't follow recruiting at all, but are you glad you didn't do it now versus?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm as old as I am, for sure. That's a heck of a spotlight to be under. I felt like when I was coming out, it was like a ton of attention, and there's no such thing as really privacy anymore, especially now. I thought it was that way when I was coming out. It was like the first probably flip camera phones were coming out, and anywhere you went, you were a picture could be taken, and you could be asked for whatever it was, and it just it is only intensified, and so for those guys, anybody coming out, from high school into college, it's an eye opener, I'm sure. It's tough for those guys to make the right decisions all the time, and it's something that is it's not going to go away. If he keeps playing football and all those guys do and they play at a high level, it's only going to get, the spotlight is only going to grow. And something you have to learn to adjust to and get used to.
Matt, how tough is it where you're kind of in a unique situation where I guess you went through it twice, being a top recruit here, but then also the first pick in the draft, where everywhere you go, people know who you are everywhere. Hey, are you going to start this year? All that kind of stuff. Dealing with that at such a young age.
I don't know. I think I was brought up by two parents that kind of prepared me for those things, and I'm lucky in that regard. But you kind of have to live it, do your best. That's what I tried to do, and not to say I did it perfect all the time, but just try to be as good a person, good a teammate, good a friend as I could be, and that kind of helped me get through those because it wasn't easy all the time, and there were times that I'm sure I didn't make the right decision or I didn't do what was best, but you got to learn from them and try not to make that mistake again.
Matt, I'm sure, I'm assuming you've met with Kirby. What are your initial thoughts on his vision for the program?
I don't know if we've gotten deep enough to talk about vision of the program, but I have. I saw him, a little bit ago and talked to him a little bit. Just good to see him. Really, he was on the staff when I was getting recruited, and then left kind of right when I got here, in that spring semester, whatever it was. I've obviously watched his career at Alabama. He's learned under a great coach. He was a great player in his own right. So I'm confident he's going to get this program, just not that it was going in the wrong direction. I think, we're winning 10 games every year, but maybe he can help us get over that next step and compete for championships. That's what, playing sports is all about, is winning, and I'm sure he's motivated to do that.
Do you have a subject matter that you're talking about today with the coaches?
I am. Red zone offense. It's going to be thrilling.
Can you share your notes?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw it to Calvin every time, and it usually works out.
Good segue.
Yeah.
I know you guys want to fire away.
We were biding our time. How did that news land on you? And I guess you probably had discussions, and how's it going to look without him?
It'll look different, obviously. He was a player that drew a bunch of attention, not only in the red zone, but all over the field. And, he's a guy that, led that receiver group, showed those guys what it was like to work, and what it was like to try and dominate a game, take over a game. We've obviously replaced with some pieces. No one player is going to replace a guy like that. But I'm confident in our coaches and our players that we have on our team. We're going to be fine. But you're going to miss a guy like that. He makes plays that 1, 2, maybe 3 guys in the league can make, and he was doing it on a consistent basis for a long time. So, it'll be difficult to start, but we'll find ways to still be explosive, still score touchdowns, and do all that kind of stuff.
Matt, were you shocked when he decided he was done?
No. Not to say that I expected it, but I wasn't shocked. I've known Calvin for 7 years, and know the effort and the attitude that he plays with, and it takes a toll on people. And he was catching quite a few passes and getting hit quite a bunch, and so it takes a toll. And he's a guy that from an offensive standpoint was touching the ball or carrying the ball just as much as anybody. So I knew the NFL was kind of wearing on him, and I just told him when he told me he was done, I just told him, I'm happy for you if you're happy, and that's what you want. He's a guy that gave everything to the game, and you want him to be able to walk out on his own terms and feel like he did the right thing.
Considering, you've been in the league now for 8 years or whatever it is, and is sport different than as a business than when you were in high school or here?
Yeah, no question.
Is it less fun?
No, I still love it. I'm sure some people think it's less fun, but I love it. I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy the preparation. I enjoy, the hard work that goes into it, the teammates, the camaraderie. Winning is obviously a lot of fun. But it's different, no question. People come and go at way more of a rapid pace. I remember my rookie year, we had just come off the 0-16 season, and we didn't play so hot. My rookie year, I feel like I had 3 new teammates every week. We were just shuffling in guys, trying to find the right guy, who can help us. And, that's a unique experience, and that's a rude awakening to the business of the NFL. If you don't win, bad things happen, and if you do win, good things happen, and that's not only on the field, but that's throughout the organization. And it's a tough deal. It's a tough business, but I personally wouldn't trade it for anything.
How much, just this cultural question about Detroit and so forth, I mean, to some degree Jacob's got the spotlight now here, but when you went up there was tons of pressure on you in Detroit to revitalize not just the Lions. It felt like people were putting the whole damn city on you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So what has it been like trying to turn not just an organization around, but sort of being the poster boy to some degree for Detroit?
It's a big responsibility at a young age. I was just turned 21 when I got drafted, so I wasn't, a wily veteran. But it was just, for me, the best thing for me to do was to focus on football. Do what I can do, control what I can control, and at that point, that was trying to be the best player I could be to help our team. There were a lot of things going on within the city, within the organization at that point. We had a new coach and, some new things going on. But for me, and throughout the 7 years I've been in the NFL, the biggest thing that I can take away was just control what you can control, because there's a lot of variables out there that you can't. People are going to like you, they're going to dislike you for whatever reason. I wore my hat forwards today, so people like me. If I wear it backwards, people don't. I mean, novice.
You hear that.
No, but I mean, just like little things. It's like you can't control that. You just go be yourself and try to be as good a football player as you can possibly be. You do that, and the rest will take care of itself.
Have you talked with Mike or Joe in Colorado?
I have. Yeah, I actually, Joe got married, a couple weeks ago, and I saw Coach Bobo there. Saw a bunch of old guys that we had played with, and I was happy for him. I watched him kind of from afar. We don't get a ton of chances to really watch college football at all. Saturdays or travel days or meeting days, whatever it is. But watched him from afar and was happy for his success.
How about along those same lines, Coach Riggs?
As far.
Keeping up with them.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Georgia as much as I could. I really enjoyed playing for him. He did a lot of great things for this school, this organization. But obviously they made a change, and I was, I didn't have anything. I'm far removed from that. But just happy for him that he got another opportunity, which is what he wanted. It seemed like once he was let go here that he really wanted another opportunity, and he got it at his alma mater, which is pretty awesome.
This might be a hard question, but you obviously came here with some talent and played as a freshman. You left as the #1 player in the NFL draft. How much did Georgia have to do with that? I mean, do you feel like because your choice of coming to Georgia elevated you to a level to where you could be the #1 pick in the NFL, or would you have been as who you are as a player if you'd gone anywhere?
Yeah, man, that's tough to say. Part of what drew me to Georgia at the time was, being able to play in a system that was going to get me ready to play in the NFL. I always dreamed of playing in the NFL. I didn't dream of playing college football or playing high school football. I was always, wanted to play in the NFL and play at a high level there. So I wanted to go to a place that I knew could prepare me. And at the time, and I think it's still very true, Georgia is a program that can do that. Now, have I gone to another top-flight program and still been the #1? I don't know. That's a tough one to answer. You're right. But I know it worked out for me, and I'm happy it happened.
One more.
You go up against guys on the other side of the ball from Georgia probably week after week. There's so much NFL talent to win a year. What do you make of the lack of championships with all that talent that's kind of flown through, and do you think a coaching change might help that?
I don't know. We'll see. It's all about getting as good of players as you can possibly get in here, and then winning as many games as you possibly can. The SEC is no joke. It's a tough conference to win. We obviously know that. I never won it while I was here, but I hope so. I hope that Kirby can bring some of that Alabama championship run they've been on the last however many years it's been. So hopefully he can bring some of that, and it's up to the players. Players got to make the plays, and coaches can coach as much as they want, but got to have great players and guys make plays at the right time, and that helps you win it.